In case you missed last week, we made some crazy announcements. And I just want to say, just want to say this. Yesterday during men's breakfast Bible study time, I just kind of told the men, I said, there's a couple things that's always constant at Christpoint Church. The Holy Spirit moving, us being obedient to Him. There's a few things like that, but change. Just embrace it, because we love to just continue to let the Lord reinvent what we are and what He wants us to be. So last week we made some major announcements as far as the vision is concerned, and I apologized because I felt like I had gotten ordinary in the vision. And when I say ordinary is what we can figure out on paper. Or sorry, some of you guys are younger. Ordinary is what we can figure out on an iPad. So ordinary is what we could take a yellow notebook piece of paper and start figuring out. Put a pencil to it and figure it out. Supernatural is what God does, and we can't figure out. And you know what? Sometimes it is stressful. It is crazy. It is bold to be able to say, this is what I believe God is wanting us to do. And we're like, oh my gosh, I can't figure it out. Yeah, that's the best part. You and I can't figure it out. So let me just reiterate those announcements. Number one is Smithville will be going to 2 services on June 2nd. That's Smithville, guys. This is a campus that had 0 people. Everybody left at one time, 5+ years ago, and there was nobody. Nobody. And I remember the first Easter, Pastor Sam and I were putting out a little Easter sign. Well, it was a pretty good sized banner. We were putting this banner out down there. It was terrible weather. I mean, anytime you want to do something outside at Easter, just put a banner up and you'll get the worst weather. It was terrible. It was cold. It was nasty. And he's like, I just feel like we're not getting momentum. I really want, he said 80. Why can't we get 80 people? I don't know why he had that number. And I said, Sam, there's 40 people attending after 5 or 6 months. I said, if you double that again, there'll be 80 people by the time you're a year old. And I'll never forget, I shot him a message that morning. I'm like, your figures came in, you had 80 people this morning. So it's pretty cool. And, and there was a group of people that were coming from the next level houses down there. You would call them halfway houses, and they shut it down. So that reduced, all of a sudden, lost down to about 60, maybe 50. So they had to rebuild again, and they're doing it, and they've done it. And now they're doing 2 services. And they're so excited. We're giving people in Smithville an opportunity to have service. So the second part of that is we've prayed about this and felt from the Lord, and it didn't take me long to realize I had been just safe in the safe zone, the comfortable zone where the vision was concerned. And you know what? This place has been wonderful to us. Now it's time for somebody else to take it and for us to buy some land and build a church. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're going to be doing. Now, that's not happening next week, because 2 properties that we're looking at, one was just, and then the other was like, oh yeah. So one of them has to go through zoning. So we've got to do a lot of stuff, and we've got to go through a lot of hoops. Shouldn't be a problem, but if we do land there, then we will know that's where God wants us. And I've written down another plan within that plan. So I'm not going to freak you out, but and let me just say this, number 3 is, I know this is scary, but we feel like there's so many people that would love to be here that are in the northern part of Putnam County and Overton County, and they just can't. So we're going to kick that campus off over there. And so that's going to be pretty cool. And you say, when is that happening? I'm like, here's the vision. We're going to have a campus in Smithville. When? You tell me when. I'm all ears. You tell, as quick as we get $75,000, that's when we're going to do it. So you can look at it however you want. You guys help me speed the vision up. That's all I can tell you. So Mother's Day, please don't forget Mother's Day. Call Joe Mama. Joe is the most important person in your life. I'm going to tell you something, because I can't say it next week, because I will be I'll be celebrating with my wife in a different location next week called Florida, and I won't be able to tell you this in person. But I'm going to tell you, you need to really, really stress how important your mother is, because if she'd have never had children, you're not going to ever have children. So you keep that in mind. Man, some of you guys, you just like, wow, for real? Yeah, we have so much fun here. So anyway, hey, let's talk about legacy. You know, we're not getting to where God wants us to be by being comfortable. We're not going to get there by being lazy, that's for sure. We're not going to get there by being complacent, or actually, we're not going to get there by saying it's somebody else's job. So by passing the baton too early, maybe too late. So let's talk about spiritual legacy. Now, we're in the Legacy Builders sermon series, and we're going to talk about this. This is just going to be part of our vocabulary in the future, because what God is doing, we need to continue to remind ourselves that it's Him and it's not us. So let me give you my definition of spiritual legacy, because you can't Google what is the definition of spiritual legacy, and they'll give you the definition of legacy. Spiritual legacy is a long-lasting impact that we catapult forward, not pass down. See, passing down is what you just do out of what you have. But what we catapult forward is what we do out of what God has given us. So the long-lasting impact that we catapult forward to multiply the glory of God into generations that come past us. We can't just think about this for us. We can't just think about what it means for us right now. I'm excited that we're going to impact generations that we don't even know yet, people we haven't even met yet. People, you know what? There's people probably not even born yet that will be leading departments in this church one day. So we've got to think about that. So with that being said, I just want to tell you this little story. I was talking to a person, and they were talking about their congregation being older. And they said something about us. They said, you know, well, we see the value in what you're doing, that you're building for the future. And absolutely we are. Absolutely. And thank you, Mr. Whoever that was. I'm not going to say his name for making us aware of that, and to reiterate that, make us, confirm that in us. So spiritual legacy is going to require three things. I'm going to give them all to you right out of the gate. We're going to give you the punchline and all the ending notes to begin with. A bold step of faith. It's going to take a forward resolve and a powerful voice of victory. So, I mean, there's three things that we can just say, okay, they're going to fit into this category. A bold step of faith, a forward resolve, and a powerful voice of victory. So let's go, before we even get into that, let's go back to the beginning. I want to show you something. I just thought this was very, very cool on how we could break this down. Genesis chapter 1. We can't go any farther back than this, by the way. Genesis chapter 1, verse 4, and God saw that the light was good. You know, let's just, I'm going to throw something out there at you. It's hard for anything to survive without light. If perpetual darkness, spiritually, perpetual darkness is heavy. It's hard for us to even embrace what the future could look like when it's perpetual darkness every single day. So God said, let there be light. And He said, hey, light is good. It's good. So let me just kind of throw this out there at you. Verse 10, verse 12, verse 18, verse 21, verse 25, chapter 2, verse 9, chapter 2, verse 12. This is what God says. It is good. Over and over and over and over, God says it is good. What is so good? Everything that He constructed. Do you realize God's calling us to build? And He's saying everything that I built, I consider good. Have you ever just sat back and looked? I don't know. I'm a builder, and not just a builder. I'm a builder. My mentality is to build. Tina will, my wife, Pastor Tina, will tell you, my pastor, she's probably sometimes my pastor, but she'll tell you, she'll say, Steve's a builder. You can't throw something out of him. He will run with it. So I'll just kind of tell you, my mentality is to build. And you never build anything and not sit back and look at it. Because, you just don't build something to walk away and say, I hope that looks good. You look at it, you may even, do some calculations, put some levels on it. You look at it, I'll give you an example. My wife again, she used to mow the yard, when she mows it now, but it's a lot bigger. But when she first learned to mow the yard back 100 years ago, she would do this, because our equipment was so big back then. When we got something that she could operate, she would mow the yard. She would go to the street and she would do like this to make sure her lines were straight. I mean, if you ever notice, she'll do this. She'll do, and see, the thing is she built that system, and she looked at it to make sure it was right. Next time I needed to move it. See, God said it was good. He said the light was good, land and water was good, expanse, firmament, atmosphere was good, vegetation was good, day was good, night was good. Now, why would God give us night when he said, I give light to overcome the darkness, and I said it was good? Then he turns around and gives us night again. Why would that not be bad? I think God did it for this reason. Number one is, you and I would never rest if we didn't have darkness. We wouldn't. I'm telling you, I wouldn't. I would just go 24/7. God, I think the seasons have a tendency to when it gets dark at 4:30, it's a means for God to say, look, if I don't give you more darkness than you have light, you'll never rest. You need to take more rest during this time, because when summer gets here, you'll be working harder. So everybody used to work outside, by the way. That's weird for you. So day was good, night was good. Sea creatures, fish, things in the ocean, things in the water, fowl was good. Livestock, land and animals was good. What the land provided and produced was good. So let's look at Genesis chapter 1:31. God saw everything that he had done. You know what? He looked at everything he had constructed, everything that he had built, and he said, you know what? It's good. I do think it's good. It's actually very good. Not only is it good, he calls it very good. Then he turns around and he says, something's not good. I mean, God, he goes on through a chapter and a half of building and constructing. Everything's good. It's great. The whole is very good, but it's not good. What all of a sudden is not good? How can everything be so good and very good, then suddenly not be good? See, we can't exist. Let's just so we don't forget, we can't exist without light, without land. You say, yeah, I could. You can't. You can't tread water constantly. So we can't exist without light, without land, without water, without oxygen, without fruit, vegetables, seeds, day, night, fish, birds, livestock, animals. We can't exist. I mean, you say, well, I'm a vegetarian. Well, you can't get things pollinated without bees. So we can't exist without these things. God made everything for us to glorify him and to survive with. Or let's just say thrive with. We have these elements and all of these elements, and God says these things are good. They're good for you and they glorify me. They're very good. And he called them good. He called them very good. But one thing he deemed as not good, this is the one thing he said is not good, we think we can do without. I mean, the one thing that God said this is not good, you and I think we can do without it. So let's just look at it. Verse 18, chapter 2. Then the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. It is not good. Man, this is great. That's good. That's good. This is very good. But it's not good to isolate. It's not good for me to be alone without God. So the one thing that we think we can do, I don't need God. You know why? I'm just going to tell you, Lord help us. Do you know why those of you and me have said we didn't need God? Because we're so prideful and stupid. I mean, Pastor called me stupid. Well, if the shoe fits, put it on, dude. Yes, we're stupid sometimes. I mean, why would we, the very thing God says, I've given you all this to thrive in, this existence and this creation that I've given you to thrive in, and then you turn around, and I call it good, then you turn around and you disconnect yourself from me, the very one that gave you all this. I mean, let me just go back to this one thought. The word Yahweh is literally to breathe. It's the sound of breathing and exhaling and inhaling. So do you realize when you breathe, you call his name? I don't care if you love him or not. I don't care if you're an atheist or not. If you're breathing, you are speaking the name of Jesus. So the creator, the one that created you. So it's not good that man should be alone. Disconnection is the one thing that God looked at and said, this is not good. When we disconnect ourselves from Christian people, it's not good. When we disconnect ourselves from church, it's not good. When we disconnect ourselves from God, it is very not good. You know, there's some really good grammar right there. It is good, not very. You're making notes, you write it down however you want. Disconnection is not, God says, look, don't disconnect. Don't disconnect. You know what? I've created all of this, and I see that Adam needs more than just fish and animals and trees to jump out of. He needs some people around him. So disconnection is the thing that we have to avoid, but it's the thing that we feel like, oh, I'm fine, I don't need anybody. How many have we said, hey, are you doing okay? I'm all right, I don't need anybody. Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You do need somebody. You do, and you don't need somebody that's the wrong somebody. You need somebody that's the right somebody. And the right somebody's the one that God puts in your path. So let me notice something with me. There's this helpmate, this partner, this person that God says, I'm going to make for you. Her name's Eve. I mean, whoa, man. So he's like, now we're talking. No, there was nothing suitable. There was no helpmate suitable. There was no companion suitable. There was no connection suitable. Do you realize that God gave him and her to each other? The one thing that did was enhance the relationship with God. It made the relationship with their Creator even better. So, I mean, you know, how many of you, I mean, I made you this bouquet of flowers. Thank you. I hug your neck. I love you. You thought of me. I made you somebody that you can talk with, that looks like you, acts like you, talks like you. That is, you know, I'm God. You're not going to understand me, but this person and you guys are going to get along. See, without Eve, Adam would have remained alone, just alone. No children would have ever been born. From Adam came Abraham. I'm just going to break this down and show you something. And, you know, Abraham also came King David. Also came Jesus. So through this lineage, we get Jesus. Do you realize that through Jesus comes salvation? And salvation comes through the gospel of Christ. So people don't know that they can have the Lord forgive them of their sins unless the gospel has been approached and presented to them. I mean, they're just not going to know this automatically. So that's why it's so important for us to connect, not to disconnect. Do you realize that the enemy wants one thing, and that's disconnection, because if he can disconnect, he can sever any kind of relationship that somebody else, future generations, catapulted forward. You know what we may be catapulting forward? Death, cursing, because I'm just not going to give my heart to the Lord. It's not good for us to isolate the gospel of Christ from those who don't know Jesus. So we had mentioned those spiritual legacy requirements. Let's break those down. Spiritual legacy will require three things. Number one is it's going to require a bold step of faith. It's going to require a bold step of faith. How is the person that works in the booth next to me, that works in at the station next to me, works at the convenience center, how is that person ever going to know about Christ unless I take a bold step of faith? Pastor Alex says, I don't know why he comes up with this simple yet profound things, but he says this, invite one person. Just invite one person. That was good. You were getting a little worried there for a second, wasn't you? And by the way, he has a running tab on what I say and what Pastor Hannah says. So by the way, I'm just thankful for Pastor Hannah because now it's not all me. So, and I'm making up stuff about it. I just make it up, put it in my phone. But it takes a bold step of faith. A bold step of faith where God is taking us together as a church. We've never been before, guys. We've never been there before. You do realize that we have never bought land as a church? We've never bought land. Now, since we've been here, we acquired this building. we pay for it. It's ours. It's we own a roof that should last 1,000,000 years. Because I've bought 4 houses that I can remember that cost less. So, hey, we have a roof. It should never leak. I'm telling you, when the earth is destroyed by fire, this roof will still be here. I'm telling you. So, we've never bought land before. See, it's going to take a bold step of faith. We've never built a new facility before. It's going to take a bold step of faith. We've never launched a campus in Cookeville before. It's going to take a bold step of